and save jobs.
Member for Menzies.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. This issue, it may seem like an entertaining exercise for us to shoot invective across at each other, and it's good to see that new members are getting on their feet and doing that, and maybe we can't call ourselves new anymore. We're into the new year. But we must never forget that what we do and say in this place affects real people and real businesses. And I'm going to give you an example of one, Deputy Speaker. In my electorate, there is a small business, or maybe a medium business, called Fratelli Engineering. And Fratelli, for those who speak Italian, means brothers. It's a family business that was formed in 1996. And we hear from those opposite that you want to make things here again. Well, guess what? Fratelli Engineering makes things here. It employs 20 people, many of whom have physical and mental disabilities, who work for a family business. But for the first time ever, that family business is now seriously questioning whether they can stay open. They've been there since 1996, and I spoke to the owner, Sam Leo, in this debate just before coming in here, and I said, what would you like to say to those opposite? And he said this, and I didn't prompt him. He said, I trusted you. I trusted that you would help bring power bills down. And trust matters. And trust matters because it goes to the heart of integrity. And we're in opposition here, and that means we must reflect upon lessons learned from that election last year. And integrity was one of them. Integrity was one of them. And you may say that that's just about a corruption commission, and we've heard a lot about that, and that was supported by this House and in the Senate. But it's not just about corruption commissions. It's about what we do and what we say, and it's about trust. And at the core of trust are promises. And you can look at promises in two ways. You can look at a promise in a contractual way, in that there are consequences that may lead to a cause of action in a court. And that's not what we're dealing with here. We're not dealing with promises that Australians can take you to court over. If we could, I would encourage Fratelli Engineering to go to the court and have all of you as the first, second, third, and how many of you there are as the respondents. But we're talking about a moral obligation and a moral commitment. And we can argue that that's an even more important commitment for integrity and for trust. There's no cause of action, but it's about a moral consequence, because people like Sam Leo and the pensioners that we heard from many of the other speakers who may seriously question whether they can keep power bills, they can turn the heating on, keep themselves warm and look after themselves and their family. They're going to make decisions this year, make decisions because they relied upon what was promised. Now, I don't know about those opposite, but I had a visit from the Edelman Trust Barometer, and they spoke about a survey they did in this country about institutions and trust. And there's some alarming conclusions, and I encourage those opposite, if you have not read this, to listen to what I'm about to say. No institution is trusted by Australians anymore, and our institutions are out of balance. Government and media fuel a cycle of distrust, and they are seen as a source of misleading information. We are more divided today than we were in the past. And globally, this is a global survey. This is a problem not just for here, but we must focus on what we can do in this country. 45% of Australians surveyed think we are more divided than in the past. And when we think about our social fabrics, they say that 61% said this: the lack of civility and mutual respect today is the worst I have ever seen. 61%. And the question of the social fabric that once held this country together has grown too weak to serve as a foundation for unity and common purpose. 54%. So this is a problem that we must all face. And leading up to an election, political parties make promises because there is a reward if that promise is believed, and the reward is that you get to sit there and you get to occupy the blue carpet offices. But people rely upon what you say. And it's not just what the Prime Minister said, it's also what some of your candidates said. And I'm going to single one out that happened in my electorate. The Labor candidate in the seat of Menzies, in a quote to the Warrandyte Diary, said, "You would match, as a government, the fixing of Five Ways intersection, where a young girl died." Now, people in my electorate, they relied upon that promise that was made, and then when I went to visit the minister about that matched commitment, Guess what? It wasn't matched because the candidate didn't submit the paperwork. Well, guess what? Australians know you don't submit the paperwork, and they're on to you.